Nine persons shot in a crowded beach in Florida. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Nine persons were shot, including a 1-year-old child, during an altercation between two groups near a busy area of the beach in Hollywood in Florida last night, officials said. Police have so far detained one person of interest but are still searching for an additional one who was described as a black man with dreadlocks. The sound of gunfire sent people fleeing down the busy sidewalk and into the nearby sand, footage from the city's beach camera live feed shows. When police responded to the area about 6:45 p.m., they found 9 people had sustained gunshot wounds, including 4 children. Miraculously, no one died. Jessica Watkins, an Army veteran and member of the far-right Oath Keepers, was sentenced Friday to 8.5 years in prison for participating in a plot to disrupt the certification of the 2020 presidential election in the January 6, 2020 attack on the U.S. Capitol. On Thursday, two of Watkins' co-defendants, Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the gang, and Kelly Meggs, was sentenced to 18 years and 12 years in prison respectively for seditious conspiracy. But here's the worst part. Donald Trump, who sent them, is out playing golf almost every day. But I guarantee he will soon be charged and sent to prison. Then Ron DeSantis, Florida governor who is running to become president, said if he becomes president, he will be looking into pardoning all these people who commit such treasonous act on the U.S. Capitol. So there is two different laws in this country, one for the Republicans and their supporters, and another law for everybody else. Two foreigners, a mother and a daughter, were robbed at gunpoint in Portmore, St. Catherine on Wednesday in Jamaica. The woman and her daughter were awaiting family members when they were pounced upon by two robbers traveling in the Honda motor car. A report was made to the police and an investigation was launched. The police said based on information gathered, a motor car that fit the description of the getaway vehicle was then intercepted on Orange Street on Wednesday with the alleged suspects aboard. Meanwhile, two policemen who were charged in 2021 for allegedly assaulting two people who were in custody at the St. Anne's Bay police station were freed last Thursday, and it is said the two men were ordered from their cell and beaten with batons. Both were taken to hospital for treatment. The policemen were later arrested after investigations from Indicom. However, they were found not guilty after the Crown offered no evidence against the cops in relation to one of the complainants. One of the men is said to have died from a different injury, and the other did not show up to court. And that's how things run ayard. A manhunt has been launched for 3 juveniles who escaped from the Raya Cobra Juvenile Correctional Center at Treasure Park in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Saturday. The 3 boys, a 16-year-old and two 17-year-old, were slapped with a number of charges, including unlawful wounding, robbery with aggravation, and wounding with intent. The 16-year-old, who is from Hatchfield Housing Scheme in Westmoreland, was charged with unlawful wounding and robbery with aggravation. One of the 17-year-olds of Mark Road in Georges Plain in Westmoreland was charged with illegal possession of firearm and wounding with intent. The other one is from Wakefield Drive in Falmouth. He was charged with escaping custody. And reports are that about 12:30 p.m., all 3 juveniles were coming from lunch when they escaped the facility by jumping over a perimeter fence. A man was rushed to hospital on Saturday after being attacked by gunmen at his home in Goshen in St. Elizabeth, and it's reported that the man who was shot several times pretended to be dead in an attack which saw the gunmen also reportedly setting his house ablaze before making their escape in a waiting motor car. Emergency responders who were alerted to the incident arrived on the scene shortly after 1 p.m. The one-bedroom house was destroyed by the blaze. 21-year-old Leon Pulchan, otherwise called Ganjaman, a farmer of Cornwall District, Hartford in Westmoreland, is facing several charges following an incident in Cornwall District in the parish on March 1st. Pulchan was arrested and charged with shooting with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, and using a firearm to commit a felony after opening gunfire on a man he had a dispute with. Reports are that about 10:30 in the morning, the complainant was at home when he and Pulchan had an altercation. Pulchan left and returned shortly after with a firearm and opened gunfire in the direction of the complainant, who managed to escape unhurt. Pulchan then fled the scene. A report was made to the police and an investigation was launched. Pulchan turned himself in to the Savlamar police on Friday, May 26, and was charged after a question and answer session. On to sports. Jamaica and Manchester City forward Khadija Bonishaw has been named the club's player of the season. The announcement was made via the club's official Instagram page on Saturday. Shaw also walked away with the award for goal of the season. So far this season, the Jamaican has scored 50 goals for Manchester City. Shaw has been a standout player for the club, helping the team stay in contention for the title as they challenge Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Shaw was also recently awarded the 2022 CONCACAF Women's Player of the Year, making her the first Caribbean player to cap the prestigious award. Meanwhile, criminals struck during the Lynx Cup knockout final at Sabina Park on Friday when Cavaliers footballers and staff returned to their change room at halftime to discover it was ransacked and all their valuable items were stolen. After the match, Cavalier technical director Rodolphe Speed could not provide details but said the losses were substantial. There was no indication that Cavalier opponents Portmore United, who won the match 2-0, were affected. And there have been previous incidents of change room breakings at the venue, most famously known for hosting international cricket as recently as during the last schoolboy football season when one of the school's locker was robbed. Meanwhile, in Premier League, Cavaliers edge Harborview 1-0 to take a lead in their first leg semi-finals last night, and Arnett Gardens and Mount Pleasant played to a 2-all draw. Next game will be Sunday, and the winner of both games will go to the finals. On to NBA, Miami Heat knocked out Boston 103-84 last night, leading from the beginning of the game lasting all the way to the end of the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler, as usual, led the Heat with 28 points and played a much more tactical game than the last. And this is the seventh time that the Miami Heat is going to the finals. The Heat will now face a very dangerous Denver Nuggets in the finals, and it's going to be a really great matchup when these two teams clash. And if you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube and type in Jamaican Undiluted News. Listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.